time today and being the first guest on Bears Originals. Now, I want to start at the very beginning. How did you go from Green Valley Junior Rugby League to the Western Suburbs Magpies? I believe there's a famous St Gregory's down in Campbelltown.
The role of St Greg's in regards to my rolling into the West Magpies was pretty influential because the coach at St Gregory's College at the time, Peter Mulholland, who sadly passed away since, was such a great friend and mentor, and he had a big influence on me. I played under him at St Greg's, and then I had played junior reps at West, and so I was always going to, if they wanted me, I was always going to roll into the West Magpies and play there if the opportunity came along, which it did. But Peter coached me at school, and then he was the reserve grade coach at West Magpies, and he put me straight into the reserve grade team in round one in 1990 after I played at St Greg's in 1989. So I sort of jumped the under 21s. Which was a bit of a shock to me, but he was confident that I could handle it. And then it was, I'm not sure how many games in reserve grade I played before I made my debut for the Magpies early in that 1990 season. I know I went on, I think it was round 1 or 2 that I went on as a reserve in the West first grade team. They used to have fresh reserves, they called them in those days. So I'd actually played reserve grade, sat on the bench, and then went on against the Broncos in round 1 in 1990. And then what I do clearly remember was my first run on first grade game for the Magpies was against Newcastle Knights in Newcastle. And there was a bit of a story done about my goal kicking. Well, I was not required to kick any goals in that first game because they beat us 34-0. So that wasn't such a great.
Oh, dear.
That certainly wasn't a highlight. But Peter Mulholland's influence was massive. And then, probably talking about coaches, the biggest thing for me at West and my strongest memory is Warren Ryan, the great coach who came across to West Magpies in 1991 from Balmain Tigers. And he just was another level in regards to coaching and his understanding of the game. And I learnt so much off Warren Ryan, and he brought along some, ironically, Canterbury Bulldogs players with him in 1991. Guys like Paul Lengmack, Joe Thomas, Andrew Farrer, David Gillespie. He brought those 4 guys with him. That really bolstered the West forward pack, and we went from middle of the table, I think, or probably lower than middle of the table in 1990. Into the semi-finals in 1991. We had a playoff again, we had a playoff against the Bulldogs to get into the semi-finals in 1991.
That's all there is. And Western Suburbs will go ahead to meet Canberra on Saturday.
Yeah, so on the back of a really strong 1991 season at the Magpies, I had a bit of a dip in performance in 1992, and I ended up getting dropped to reserve grade for 5 games or so, and part of the lead up to me ending up in reserve grade was throwing Greg Florimo a beautiful pass. I got to throw him a lot of balls for tries over the next 6 years, but the first one I threw him, I was wearing a West jersey and he was wearing a Bears jersey, and they're not great memories. It was nice to put Flo in for that try. He had to run 95 metres, which was not easy for him. But that's those memories aren't great. A couple of years later, I was playing with him. Yeah.
Do you remember your first game against the Bears?
I remember getting in my car and driving to North Sydney Oval and getting lost and, having no idea where I was going. And then parking behind Percy's in the school there and walking in. I remember all that stuff. But if you ask me who won that game, I would say I think the Bears probably slightly pipped us that day, but I don't remember a great deal of that game. Was that in 1990? Yeah. I played reserve grade that day, and then sat on the bench for first grade, but I don't think I went on. I might have gone on for a few minutes at the end. And the following year I came to the Bears, 1994. And the biggest thing about all of that in the conversation is that it sort of, Peter Mulholland's influence over me was pretty massive in that he came to the Bears in 1993. So Peter Mulholland, I think I'm right in saying he's the last coach to coach the Bears to a premiership. That was in 1993. He then moved on because he was going to coach the Western Reds, the Perth team. But he had come to the Bears and spent 12 months here. And when I was, because I'd asked for a release the year before, I was clearly looking at leaving the Magpies, and he pretty strongly influenced me to join the Bears. He'd been here for 12 months, was really enjoyed his time, and the big thing about the Bears was the forward pack at the time. Particularly that back row: David Fairley, Gary Larson, Billy Moore. Those three guys were origin players and young, up-and-coming, enormously great forwards. And I just, on the back of Peter's influence, I really saw an opportunity to play behind a forward pack who was going to give me the opportunity to play the footy that I wanted to be able to play. And the rest is history.
1994 comes around, you're out of your contract in West. Was there any, you mentioned Peter Mulholland was influential getting across the Bears. Was there any other options on the table for you?
Yeah. The other clubs, two main other clubs were Penrith with Phil Gould and Manly.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I had a meeting with Bob Fulton about going to Manly, and obviously Phil Gould was building something at Penrith at that time, and Manly were obviously a strong team as well. But Peter Mulholland in the end, his influence over me was pretty strong, and no regrets at all from me. In regards to coming to the Bears, and it certainly changed my life, and the club has given me so much. Both clubs gave me such great opportunities, and I'm eternally grateful.
To the left, they're pointing at him. Walters, I don't know whether he was directly behind. Taylor goes for the shot. Taylor, he's got it. Taylor, he's got it. North Sydney lead by a point.
Well, that's coolness under pressure. Brisbane knew it was coming.
Pretty clutch moment against a pretty formidable opposition. Brisbane were stacked full of premiership winners from the year before. Obviously, Northland, we've had a bit of a hoodoos with finals in the past. What was going through your head, essentially, if you remember that?
The big thing about that field goal was the fact that I was where I was standing to kick it. In that,
wrong side of the ruck for
I was standing on the left side, and I practiced that whole season. I'd practice my field goals most weeks, if not once, at least twice. If not twice, at least once, most weeks. And I'd often stand on the left side of the ruck and catch the ball and then pretend to sidestep the marker and then kick the goal. I just got really comfortable being on the left, as well as the right. But on the right, if the marker comes out at you really hard and you step off your right foot, then you can't kick. If you can't kick it with your left foot, you're in a tough spot. So where we finished, it was better for me to stand like where we were tackled. It was better for me to stand on the left, and the marker came out really hard, and I was able to step off my left foot and kick that ball. And it really was just a training drill. I'd done that so many times that season in practice. It was pretty easy. I didn't feel any pressure. When I stood there and I saw Michael Hancock was the first marker, and I could tell how keen he was to come and get me. I thought, well, I'm just going to let him come. I'll step off my left and I'll slot it over. And yeah. The other thing that comes to mind there was a guy by the name of Robbie Wright was our physio at the Bears at the time, and he used to kick the balls back to me when I'd kick the field goals. And he was a talented AFL player.
Oh, really?
So I'd kick field goals in practice. I'd kick the ball, I'd drop the field goal over the post. He would catch it behind the post and then kick it back to me, and I'd basically catch it on the full and then drop kick it again. And he'd catch it and he'd kick it back to me, and we could do this ball back and forth for long periods without the ball actually touching the ground, other than when I actually literally dropped it.
That's fantastic.
To the ground. Yeah, so much practice went into that.
Defensive effort, continuing to offer Western Suburbs nothing. Leads and Doyle. Well, Doyle lost the script. Taylor's away. Will he have the speed? Inside the 20-metre line. He's going to make it, the captain.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
Jason Taylor.
He's got the speed okay. That's 7 tries for Jason Taylor this season.
Not so much, that one.
He'll be happy. And he's starting to get a few 4-pointers for himself.
It obviously becomes pretty clear when you watch it. But no, that
very difficult for a runner.
if you said to me, what was the furthest try you scored against West, specifically West, I wouldn't have said I ran that far. Well, the 97 year is just the one that got away in regards to semi-finals and, the game we had against Newcastle. There was, that game. I missed a goal in that game that I should have kicked, and that was pretty, very influential in that game. Would have put us ahead late in the game. I missed the goal, and the scores remained level. And Matthew Johns kicked a 40-metre field goal, and that was heartbreaking.
To the centres, and Michael Butner will play at 5'8".
Look at those jerseys, they're
Jason
massive.
Taylor, a special moment for him, his 200th
The
first-grade game.
size
These
of
are
the
two
jersey,
clubs
I
he's
used to
played
get
for.
tackled by my
West and North
jerseys
Sydney,
so often.
86
They
games with
just
West,
grab me
114 with North,
finger, not,
and
they
hasn't
didn't even
missed a
need a
game
hand.
with North Sydney since he came to the club in
Just,
1994. 114
Get
consecutive
a tighter
games for North
jersey,
Sydney.
surely. I might have made a few more breaks.
So Western Suburbs will
tighter
be
jersey.
defending the southern or city end of North Sydney Oval on what is a glorious afternoon in Sydney. No better place to watch football on an afternoon
The
like this
kickoff's
in Sydney
horrendous.
Oval. So
I slipped over on the
by
cricket.
North Sydney. First touch of the ball going to Scott Coxon, and in back play, Jason Taylor.
Looks like a rolled ankle.
Down. David Fairley again stepping out of some weak defence. Had support on the outside in Petherbridge, couldn't get the pass to him. Petherbridge goes from dummy half, now in the hands of Taylor. He dummies to Butner, sees a little gap, then
Butner
through the
dropped it.
pass, which had Butner taken it, he would have been under the post.
Once again, it's the defence. It's looking a little bit ragged out there for Western Suburbs. They've really got to get back together as a unit. A couple of scoots out of dummy half, get the wingers back, but Jason Taylor stepping up the right foot, straight through the middle of the road. It just shows no one's bothered to move up in the middle.
Yeah, well, I think a couple of things come to mind when I look at that sort of thing. First one is when I said when I was back at the Magpies, I needed to toughen up. Mm-hmm. I needed to get back to running the ball and taking the line on, and that was something that I worked hard at doing along with the sprint training. So the sprint training I used to be working on footwork and then accelerating through space, as opposed to just weren't doing 100-metre sprints there. We were doing agility work and, sidestepping and accelerating off that. And, it was, I really worked hard on that. I really worked hard and I worked hard to make sure that was part of my game, taking the line on. Because that needs to be there. And as a halfback, you can't be just passing the ball all day.
Rewatching these games, they let a lot go that wouldn't fly today.
Yeah. The kickers are protected today.
Oh, absolutely.
Honestly, I have a joke with the kickers that you're not allowed to touch a kicker, particularly when he's actually in the motion of kicking.
Yeah.
But I remember getting hit as like when you're on one leg, this leg's way up in the air, and this leg is so vulnerable. And like Ronnie Gibbs hit me from the side on my left knee while I was mid kick, and it was just play on. And I remember going, how did my leg not break just then?
Perfect timing. 6-2 at the moment to the Bears.
Come on, kick the ball.
The radar's working early in 99 for Jason Taylor.
I haven't seen some of
So it's 8 points to 2.
Oh, yeah.
these.
Bears fans
Radar
happy.
wins.
Yeah. Oh.
Great charge from McNeely. This youngster. Taylor stepping his way through. He's got support.
Well, that one was off the left foot. And I used to work really hard on that because the right foot was always comfortable for me, but the left foot I really had to work hard on. And yeah, so as I say, practice that time and time and time again. And later in my career, it was actually getting better because of the continual practice. So yeah, when I was young, I could do that. I could always do that off the right foot, but not so much the left. So yeah.
Congratulations on getting voted in as a life member of the North Sydney Bears.
Yeah.
I was there the other night. How did that make you feel? Interesting.
Yeah, I was enormously grateful, but I just felt so excited to receive it. As I said before, these two clubs that I've played at, in such a strong fashion, West Magpies and the North Sydney Bears, they've given me so much. They gave me so much to get started in regards to the great career that I've been able to have, because it's the lessons and the insights from everyone and just the opportunity to be part of it has then allowed me to go on and continue to be involved in the game at this level. And it's as I said there the other night, like I really don't feel like I've worked a day in my life, but at the same time, it's all hard work, right? It's all just been hard work, but it's not work. It's the passion and the love for it just mean it's not work. And so yeah, absolutely blessed in that regard.